Hi, everybody. It's Dawn Martin, speech language pathologist, and some of you might know me as the Smiley SLP. So I wanted to talk about baby talk versus parentese. Back in the day, they called parentese motherese, but now we're including all of the people who are parents to our little ones and that are talking to our babies. So it's now called parentese. And there's been much research about this in the past. And just recently, a new study came out in 2020 that I will discuss after explaining the difference between the two. So when I talk about baby talk, it's usually made up words like mumbo jumbo, little words, and it's not as engaging and it's not modeling correct grammar and correct language. For example, I don't have a baby with me, but I might say something like, if I was using baby talk, "Oh, you cutesy wootsy, are you hungry? Let's get you some food. You eatsy eatsy, you want to eatsy eatsy," something like that. So those are not real words and they're not following correct grammar. Now, parentese is the opposite. So parentese is using a lot of different inflection, and that's trying to engage the child with the different types of tones of voice and inflection, and it's exaggerating some of the vowel sounds, but it's also using simplified language structures that follow correct grammar. So, for example, if the baby is crying, you might say, "Oh, are you hungry? Do you want to eat? Eat, eat, eat. Your belly is hungry." That is following the correct grammatical structures. And so what the research study, it was so cool to read about. It was done by the University of Washington, and they were looking at, they had a control group of parents that were not coached on parentese, and they had their coached parents on parentese, and they were coached at different stages of development. I think 6 months, 12 months, and 18 months. And with the coaching came how to model and how to use this parentese as the child is progressing through language development. And the research found that the children who had the parents in the group that were coached were able to have more conversational turns with their parents. And also when they're looking at their vocabulary, I believe at 18 months old, the parents who were coached in parentese group, their children had about 100-word vocabulary at 18 months versus a 60-word vocabulary on average with the control group of parents that were not coached. So this is showing that there is a correlation to using that type of language, parentese, to model appropriate and developmental language for the child to learn new words. And it's also what they found was because of the inflection and the engaging with the types of words and simplistic words that you're using, it engages the child socially. So the child then pays attention more to you. And so that's kind of the reason why they're learning these words quickly and more consistently, because you are socially engaging them in the interaction. So that's the difference between baby talk and parentese. And it's not using adult language with children. We do simplify the language based on the child's developmental levels. So, for example, when a child is cooing at 6 months old, ah, ga, ga, they're making all those back sounds that you want to engage with them. You want to say, "I hear you talking. Are you talking? Yes, I hear you." And you're making eye contact, and then you're pausing. At 6 months old, or less, you will see the child start to respond back to you. They establish turn taking very, very quickly. The other cool thing about it too is that when children babble and they play around with sounds, if they do not hear those sounds then talked back to them or modeled back to them, they will lose those sounds because they're not getting the feedback of those sounds. So there are many sounds like trills, like that come in different languages that then our children that speak English will not follow that. They might play around with that for a bit, but they're not hearing that in their modeling of language. And so they will lose that. So it's really, the brain is an amazing thing. So that's a quick video on the two different things. And I hope this is helpful for young parents and anybody who's learning about child development. If you have any questions, please hit me up. You can follow me on the Smiley SLP on Facebook, and I'm on TikTok, and yeah, thanks. Talk to you soon.